one of the things that I find just so hard to fathom is that in the aftermath of such a horrific attack where our Muslim community was so targeted, that we still see those communities being the subject of vile racist attacks, of threats.
We wanted to ask locals in New Zealand to reflect on the mosque attacks in Christchurch on March 15th, 2019. Has this attack been forgotten? Could such a tragedy bring any positives? Did the attacks affect the non-Muslim community? 15 days, 15 videos, marking the 2-year anniversary of the day that shook New Zealand. This is what they had to say.
I was in New Plymouth and I was travelling to an event when I got a call to say that there was an event, a shooting underway in Christchurch. At that point there wasn't a lot of detail or information, but I remember that by the time we got back to a place where I could see some of the footage coming out of Christchurch, I just remember the scenes from that and the number of victims being brought into the hospital, and just the scale, very quickly becoming aware of the scale of the event, and it was horrifying. It was, so much of the aftermath of March 15, there was the sentiment of, us being a country that stands firmly against xenophobia and racism and Islamophobia, but in doing so, we at the same time have to acknowledge that that exists in our country, because it does. And the fact that we had that unity did not mask the fact that that existed. But what I think we all have a job to do is to make sure that what is elevated, what is lifted, what is the experience of our communities is that sense of unity and of diversity, rather than any sense of racism. We have to continue to call it out, and that's the only way that we'll be able to confront it in New Zealand. No, I think that ultimately only the Muslim community will be able to tell us what they've experienced in the aftermath of March 15. But, one of the things that I find just so hard to fathom is that in the aftermath of such a horrific attack where our Muslim community was so targeted, that we still see those communities being the subject of vile racist attacks, of threats, of bullying, and that has continued since the attack. And after all that the community has been through, I think that just highlights in some parts of the country how deeply embedded it is for some individuals, and the work that we have to do as a country to weed that out and to confront it and to address it. I do think that something, that one of the effects of March 15 was to both put a spotlight on ourselves, to have to confront issues that have been persistent here for a very long time and for many different communities. But at the same time, I think it showed us what the alternative was as well, that in confronting those, the goal and aspiration we all have is that people, no matter what, feel as if this is their home and that they are safe and that they can be who they are here. And that has to be our aspiration as a nation. We, however, cannot lose sight of the fact that that's going to take work every single day. As we near the anniversary of March 15, I hope that the Muslim community feels the warmth of New Zealand every day, not just at the anniversary, but every single day. And that no matter what, to keep raising your voice if you have those experiences that are discounted of who we are.